There we are again. Yeah. Set index. Yeah, code aspects. I'm not sure I can still call it a marathon, but at least I did sort of get back earlier than otherwise. Than I would have done otherwise. Because I'm still having a problem with working on this, I think. I guess that I can collect the largest set index int. Although I would rather have it as a size, or what is it? End. I think it's a size type. Get value, size type. Yeah, it's not working. Default constructed, it's constructed with -1, but it's stored in a size type. And then I've used operator less than, I'm comparing size types. So that's never going to be less than -1, which is the maximum value. But I could initialize it at 0, that would work. If I just use an explicit constructor passing a 0, then there is no problem. Although there is no larger set index hint if this thing is empty. But no, it's not empty, because if it was empty, well, we will have already returned. So 0 is a perfect bet. Yeah, I made it up myself. At some point I needed a certain algorithm, and I asked around on Stack Math on IRC and other places. Googled it, could not find it, and then I went to bed. And I made up an algorithm myself. And then the next day I tested it. So I have a stream of that even. Wrote a test application. So it comes down to having this sorted in a way that every thread has uses the same order, and then in that order they try to get a lock. So if you fail on so the order is always say alphabetical, and one tries to get A, C, Z, and the other one tries to get C, D, F. Then and you try to get a lock on those things in that order, then there is always one of them going to succeed and the other not, all the others not. Trying to get the lock here. Right. Hello, Bear. Thank you for the heart. It seems like it's necessary that I'm going to have a set index 0 and a set index 1 and a set index 2 without holes in it. But I'm not really sure that is the case. It also feels like perhaps all these things need to have a different set index. No, that's not true. That's definitely not true. I don't know. I guess I won't set those restrictions when I'm not even sure about it, and I can make it work without them. So I'll just get the largest set index hint, and then below here I can make can make a vector of something. I don't know yet what. Something with that size. Largest set index hint. So then I can store whatever set index hint this is throwing at me, I can store it. I can use it, I mean, as an index in this vector. I'm going to add a const everywhere. Namespace over here. In Vulkan pipeline. Suppose I'm using namespace shader resource descriptor, shader builder. I mean shader resource. Yeah, also descriptor. Well, in that case, it works just using set index hint. So if I'm using this set index hint, if I'm going to use set index hint as a index for a vector, then I should just use just like I did here, a utils vector of my own making, which is just derived from standard sector, with some type, and then I pass a second parameter here, the set index hint. So now I can use set index hint as index for this vector. Yeah, there's only very few short moments of euphoria, I think. Sometimes it's weeks of work even, and then you have a short moment that you can show something. Okay, look, now it works. And then immediately on to the next thing. Mostly it's just wrestling with code. Okay, so I want to, I don't know what type yet. I want to store something in this vector by set index hint. And that is just to get these base pointers. All right, so I'm going to store base pointers, why not? So run over all the shader resources, and then I look up what is there. Oh, this is the wrong loop. Wait a minute. What? I thought I had another loop up here. Oh no, it's not true. Yeah, the first loop, I'm just determining what is the largest set index hint. Now we make a vector. Let's just make it like that. Does that make sense? No, it does not make any sense whatsoever. And then I make a vector here called something that can use the up to the largest set index hint as a index. And then I'm going to store stuff in it. I think I got confused simply by the fact that I don't need this then yet. all I want to do here is the problem is I just don't want to, I don't know what I want to do yet. The thing I wanted to do is realize that T1 and T2 go in the same descriptor set, and then I have to look up inside those objects for pairs, or if there are more, even more things that contain the same set layout pointer and have a matching binding number. It's crazy that I still cannot wrap my head around it. I think I'm just really getting really old. Set index int. Well, at the very least, I first have to collect all of them, I think. Does it make any sense to do something before I have all of them? Maybe. Maybe. Let's just collect all of them. Yeah. This is the layout per set index. So here we already translated stuffs. Set index stored by set index, or set index is the translation of this thing. I think I want to do that here too. So instead of using set index hint as a index, I want to use the real set indexes. which means that I need this one anyways. And now we store it by set index. And because I stored by set index, I need this vector to be the largest set index, not the largest set index hint. Although I have the feeling that those should be the same thing, but yeah, who knows. Let's make this one const as well, because I'm not changing it. And let's add that here then as well. And then you remove the hint here. Well, and here of course. And here. Our largest set index is what we have now, and then we make a vector that takes a set index as index and can store share the resources in the standard vector per set index. Could have done this in the previous loop, but then you have to grow this vector every time you find a larger index. So I don't think this is slower, except that it is a fact that we have to do these 3 lines double. Now this descriptor set key function is simply what the hell, undo, no, Control T. What is it? This is simply an accessor turning a const reference to something that already exists, I think. What is this one? Returns a set key. Yeah, it's still confusing me. Why I'm returning a const reference to a set key. And apparently I'm doing that because I didn't like to make a copy of a unique ID. And that is why. A unique ID is simply a wrapper around a integral type. I think I can make copies of it. I mean, it compiles. Right. And it's the case that it is a same unique ID type, aka small. It converts, if necessary, directly to the underlying type. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, I think, to use a set key const reference. Let's remove that. I don't know where I did that, why I did that, I don't know. So I'm doing that here, for example. Let's see if there's any other places that I'm doing that. Loads and loads. Well, before I do that, let me try to compile it. Use of undeclared identifier shader shader resources per set index hint. Yeah, the hint should be. The hint was removed. Also, I should probably just make a commit. It's always boring work, but yeah, or I even made the change the other way around. So I want to change this back now. For some reason I did not want to pass by value anymore. I don't know what I have or had. Well, let's be consistent in that I really do not want to have the opening brace on the same line here for any struct or class. Sometimes it feels better to have less lines, but if you have a large things, then it becomes, I think, confusing that these braces are not in the same column. So that's why at some point in my life I decided to always have them in the same column. And it's definitely also easier, at least it was at that point, easier to indent and unindent stuff. Although maybe it doesn't really matter. And otherwise, you can always write some kind of macro then to do it correctly. So it's not really the real argument. Yeah, I don't know. But now I'm used to it, more or less, so for the rest, I think yeah, it's just work in progress. I don't see any silliness. I think that I made this because I moved it. And where it came from, it was an struct inside, a local struct somewhere inside the function even. Something like that. Right, I don't think my to-do has anything that I want to commit. And elect also, that was fun. This is a test of that horse race algorithm, as I call it. These have to be added and therefore also viewed. Oh, I just added them. Just created them. And this one as well. Okay, why not? Git add all of those things. Status. Let's remove some junk. Work in progress. And then I want to grab for set key const reference. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it's still compiled. VI I think you can just do this like that. On this case, I want to keep them. I want to keep the const. Well, maybe not. I wanted to keep them in the, well, these places here. Yeah, what is this? Oh, that's why the previous file was a const reference, because this thing is returning a const reference. And this thing is returning a const reference because the bloody class is storing a const reference. And the set key preference. But yeah, really. I think the size of the set key is just an integer, isn't it? Apart if you ignore this boolean anyway in the debug mode, it's pretty much just this unique ID. So it's size type. It's a wrap around the size type. Oops, I'm going to treat it as a size type. No const reference here, no const reference here. No const reference here. Size types you just copy around. And then I had set key preference on H, that was this one. Oké, dat is dat gewetensvraag. A conscious question. I don't know. Let's keep this one const reference, just because. Now I think about it, I like binary operators. I like to be free functions. So I might as well add a left-hand side here separately. Not that it matters, but you all. Right, and that still compiles. Doesn't. Oh, yeah. If you make it a free function, it cannot be const qualified anymore. It is 19.5 degrees here, and it is hot. It is hot. I mean, I have clothes on that suit more 19. It's 19.5, so it suits 19, not 19.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, this compiled, very nice. Now back to what I was doing. Pipeline factory. Yeah, what about this debug output here? It's a DC always. I should not have committed it. I think I saw that. Let's remove it. For that matter, let's grab for all the DC always. Oh, still a lot of them. Okay, the triggered, yeah, well, okay. And then I have this. Strange stuff and something in shader input data. This is commented out, it can stay as well. Preprocess. Kind of still working on it. Let's keep them for now, in case until it really works. What about this? I don't know. I'm gonna keep it because I really hate deleting debug output and then later having to add it again. So we're really working on the shader input data, not the pipeline factory. This function. Now that we have the occlusive log tetra, create okay, so now I have all the layout handles in this vector that I need. But I do not necessarily need to create new descriptor set handles. So I think that what that comes below should construct this vector. Where it skips certain layouts. I don't think I can use a Vulkan API for that, skipping. Although I'm not sure. Let's have a look what it calls. Doesn't look like it, does it? It calls this vk allocate descriptor sets. P descriptor set is a pointer to an array of vk descriptor set handles in which resulting descriptor set objects are returned. So I need to allocate info. I hated to see that there are special cases. It's not really clear about if there must be valid handles. It just says pointer to array of VK descriptors. Well, that's the output. Let's have a look at these things. There we are. Valid VK descript set layout handles. Well, it seemed obvious, but wanted to make sure. So I want to skip certain allocations. I'll have to yeah, I cannot generate them directly into this vector, but I do want to allocate them all at once if possible. So I just have to figure out which one I need to allocate, and then allocate them and then put them in the right place. Right, so that starts with being able to make the decision if a certain layout needs to be allocated or not. And then those layouts are stored in this vector, which is a vector by set index as index, and I know that I do not want to allocate them if the corresponding set index in this vector tells me so. So I think that what I could do is, let's make a struct Uh, no, no. I need a standard vector, which I can pass to get a descriptor, sorry, to allocate descriptor sets. No, that is not the standard vector. Oh, that is. I need this, and now it's no longer by set index. It's just a vector. Is that correct? I think so. Yeah, most definitely. Except that the debug name that is being set is getting the wrong index. If I do that this way. We can fix that. We can fix that. Although I want to know in advance how often I'm calling this thing already. Oh, gotta be kidding me. Probably commented out stuff. That one is commented out. That one is definitely commented out. Is not commented out. No. What? Frame resource count is still doing its own thing here. How annoying. But then again, I think frame resource count is totally broken at the moment. So in the end, I don't think I'm going to use this code anymore. Frame resource count is broken, right? It's broken. And then I have this one. Standard vector, Vulkan descriptor set, allocate descriptor sets. That is just the function definition itself, or declaration. This is the definition itself with the debug output. And then we have one call to imgu. And nobody knows what this is. I think this is what I'm working on, but what the hell is that? Let's comment it out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, doesn't really seem to mean anything anymore. There's a fix me here, however. Well, I don't know. Frame resources is reference to element of frame resources list, which is maybe frame resources data eventually. Otherwise it's a unique pointer. But okay, now we get here, and that contains overlapping descriptor set. EA uniform buffers. Dragons ahead. I really did not want to see this. Really did not want to see this yet. Really. Okay. Life is what it is. But yeah, so I wanted to make a vector that I can pass to allocate descriptor sets, which means a vector of descriptor set layout. And then at the same time, I'm making a vector that contains the corresponding set indexes. So basically, this is going to be a taking a part of this vector, where I pick a descriptor set layout and copy that handle here, and the set index that belongs to that one I copy at the same time into this vector. Right, then all we need is to find out which ones I need to copy. And which ones I don't need to copy. Now if I don't need to copy them, I also need to keep track of it. So I'm going to need a vector of set indexes that just store the handles that we find in advance. So that's going to be a vector of descriptor set layout. Descriptor set. No layout, just set by set index. But maybe I don't need that because that is in the end just simply this vector here. Yep. Well, before I start filling that one, I do want to know for sure that it is empty. It's probably silly, but at this point I'm not even sure if it is empty. It should be empty. We are going to fill this vector now. So let's say that here I am going to add code that magically fills the above vectors, these two. Then maybe I should move this up a bit. And then afterwards I can call okay, this I just need a copy from of it, I'm afraid. This thing returns a vector by value. Yeah, well. Lots of vectors. I'm gonna call this on simply missing descriptor sets. Missing descriptor sets. So this is the missing descriptor sets layouts. Yeah, the ambifix is really failing here. But let's fix it afterwards. Although that was kind of my point, might as well try it immediately. I'm passing missing descriptor set layouts here and as well my set indexes at the same time. But we only need to do that if it is debug code. Because I'm going to need those set indexes for the debug name of these objects. And then this ambifix makes sense. So this contains the indexes into this vector where we are going to store these handles. Right, so let's do that. Just do it. So I need to add a debug only vector to the allocated script sets. As const reference. And then, is there still anyone watching this who thinks that const should be in front of the vector? And then the reference behind it? Then you didn't watch enough. It would compile, but that's about it. It's just a stupid special case, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so now I have my set indexes, and what I really want here is to use the set index. Yeah. So it's a normal vector. So you can just pass the index that I'm also using for the descriptor sets. Well, this one, but it eventually came from here, I guess. Didn't it? Yeah. Was the input, okay, and then one-on-one we allocate the descriptor sets, so the indexes match, and then the index in here still corresponds with the index in here, and that way we get the actual set index, where we will store it in. However, I cannot do a toString of a set index. I don't think so, at least. Let's have a see. Look at how I can convert a set index to a string. Set index is simply a vector index. No, simply it's a vector index. Can convert it to a size type first, and we can write it to an O stream. Then it puts a hashtag in front of it. Hey, you see what I see? There is a toString here. Okay, we have it. Well, they still get a hashtag in front of it, but well, it's a good reminder that it is a vector index, so why not? The reason that this is working, by the way, is that toString is in the same, it's defined in the same namespace as the vector index. That namespace is utils, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm passing to the function toString something in a namespace utils, then it's going to find this toString. Provided, of course, that I'm using toString and not standard toString or something silly like that. So it's going to say, okay, set indexes is it has the type set index, which is defined in which is sorry, it is defined in a certain namespace, but it is a vector index defined in utils, and then we have a toString for a vector index also in utils. So it should work. But now all the other code is not compiling anymore since I added this, which is kind of sad. I have to fix all those others as well in some way. Just allocate descriptor sets. Yeah, here we have allocated descriptor sets unique. I have the feeling that should not make any difference. So let's add it as well here. Also should print it. And see how these lines look like with my normal. Still fits. Okay, so now I have changed allocated descriptor sets, which means I can call this as yeah, passing missing the script set layouts and then set indexes. And then I need to fill this. Yeah, let's move it down. Yeah, how's that working? I think these are going to be in order, right? In the same order. Set index order. Probably. So I think I can just start at 0. And then have a while loop. I'll set index is less than something. Do our thing. Doesn't make sense. I determine the largest set index here. Let's also use that here. Yeah, so we run over all the set indexes in order, and this is a set index ordered vector. So here I can now just do pushback, and then all the descriptor set handles. And then we use either a new constructed one or one that already exists. Yeah, so I determine which thing that we need next, and then we push it to that vector. Oh, nobody gets this anymore, but let's fix these empty places first, I guess. How is this going to work? If the current descriptor set is equal to the set stored in set indexes, then I must copy that one. So we can do that something like if I equals nope. If set indexes I equals set index, then we must use missing descriptor sets I. Otherwise, we must use something else. However, I also need to increment I, so let's do this differently. I'm first going to set it to something else probably, and then I do if set indexes equals that, then increment I after copying this to descriptor set. Which only works when they are in the order. So set indexes must be sorted. going to add an assert for that, I think, because I'm not 100% sure, and it's just failing in a nasty way. It is not true. So if I is larger than 0, it's the other way around. I equals 0, or is larger than 0. And now we demand that it is ordered, meaning set indexes I minus 1 must be less than set indexes I. With the comments, set indexes is expected to be sorted. Oh, this won't work. Okay, is it not equal, then it is a thing that we already have, apparently. So then what? Then what is it? I don't think I have that yet. The easy accessible way. I have that pry out of the shader resource object. So it's determined somewhere on the dot dot dots. Here. I guess I'm gonna run over set indexes here as well, and then we figure out if it is if it exists or not. Maybe you can fill it. Maybe you can fill it in right here. That is maybe an option. Let's try that. Delete. Now it already has that size, so then I'm going to fill everything that we already have. Set index that already exists. Going to fill in here, and the rest we leave empty. Meaning that, well, it's just default constructed, so maybe the descriptor set default constructed script set is just a null handle. And then those we are filling in here. As follows. So now I know the set index and the thing already has a size. Where this descriptor set is then this thing here. And we only have to do that when this is true. Right, what if set indexes is empty? Okay. Well, this can be improved, I guess. like can just immediately jump to the next. Because now I do not really, oh, what the hell, really? Seriously? Yeah, okay. So because I now only want to override this whole loop was wrong from the beginning. This is a new addition here, and assuming that all of this is already filled, I should not loop over set index anymore. I should just loop over whatever is in set indexes. Okay, I'll just believe that it is sorted. Hell, it doesn't even need to be sorted anymore now. Wait, really I still need to I because I need to use it as well for missing descriptor sets. Right, that looks better. I think I made this the slave factor of that one. It's kind of corresponding, you know, one-on-one. So this is a canonical one, and that just follows. The sizes should be the same, but it feels like more logical to use this as the size, and then assume that for every index that we can use for missing descriptor, we can also use it in set indexes to find the corresponding set index. Now I'm pretty happy with it. Right, now still 2 dots left above this. But it's dinner time, so I'll be back after dinner, right? Let's have a look at the chat. Hi, hey Retin, how are you? Kicking out the bots for me, thanks man. That's so weird. If I click on participants in the chat, it's empty. Well, except me and the bot. For the rest, there's nobody. So YouTube is failing so hard. It's unbelievable. I think they need to hire a good programmer to fix the website. The reason I look at who is at the participants is because I don't want to give lengthy answers late now when, say, people that ask them. I can scroll up, look at all the questions and answer them. But I want to know that those people are still here. So Brave asked, oh, he's not talking to us, he's talking to his brother. Let me see. Please tell what you are making. Yeah. And I have to pronounce. You picked that name on purpose, I guess. Sahai Shrest. Sahai Shrest. Trash. Shresh. Yeah, well, I don't think this is my fault in this case. It's just completely unpronounceable. Someone says no audio. I don't believe that. Testing. No, I have audio. Manoi Baigain, yeah, thank you for appreciating showing my pain, my programming pain. And Frownside has guessed who I am. That's why do you think I don't have a webcam? People talk about C++ and websites continuously. It's pretty amazing. Black Mage Zeraf says, is this Linux? Yes, it is. It's Arch. I like Bear. He gave an answer. Yeah, there's a few more participants in the chat now. Now I only see 4 people in the chat. It can't be right. 34 watchers, 34 viewers, and then only 5-6 people in the chat. Nah. Well, yeah, this is my day job. If I'm not sleeping, well, I do that at night these days. I used to live at night and sleep during the day, but for like 25 years or so. And Flunef, what? Fluna Flick ask, I am new to coding and I just want to know some tips. What programming language do you recommend for someone who just started? That totally depends on your goals. If you just want to code, well, you should only start to code, I think, as a hobby. And then, yeah, just pick the language that is most suited for whatever you want to try. C++ requires a lot of preparation. So it's... So the hello world of a C++ is much larger than the hello world of most other languages. So it has a higher, how you call that, entry barrier. But yeah, in the end, of course, it's a very, very good language to code anything in. It's just going to take a long time before you get there then. So if you want to make something very quick or you just don't have the time, then maybe another language is better. And if you want to take into account that you want to also make it your job in the future, yeah, I'm not really sure it matters in that case either. Eventually, you probably want to learn C++, but if you're really starting programmer, I don't know. How hard is it to make a Vulkan engine? Very hard. Yes, I'm using NeoVim. I'll be back in after I did eat my dinner, I think. I don't feel like cooking though. I can heat up some soup in 5 minutes, but then I still would like to turn off my microphone while I'm eating soup. So, going to make a real break of it. Yeah, I don't consider HTML to be a language, really. It ends on an L, but I doubt you have for loops and while loops and if statements in HTML. Maybe if you want to make very difficult, complex websites. But if you ask me, those websites are mostly based on JavaScript, maybe Java. And I guess Windows is supporting C# for websites. Not sure, but since they made C# to what do you say, concurreren in English? Now, if you really want to write a program, like, I mean, all those people that come here and say I'm a beginner, what you do not want to do is start with writing a game. Okay, that's even too difficult for one person. You need a whole team of experienced coders and then lots of people who can do graphics. Look at the list of people that work on a good game. It's always pages. You're never ever going to write a game on your own. Forget it. However, you could do something like I did in one of my last streams. I wrote a little thing called, let me just write this. Did I not put it here? Yeah, number wall. 2 days ago, I think, I made this program, which is 446 lines. It's a single file, not too many lines. That's the kind of code that you should be writing when you start programming. Something small. And you can see me write it from scratch, completely from scratch, in this stream that I made yesterday, or when was it? I forgot. The title is different. I changed the title. I can look it up. Let me see. I just go to YouTube. And I'll click on myself, your channel, the videos. Is there no list of live things, or all of these are live? Because now I don't see it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. 22 hours ago. 4.5. Oh yeah, here it is. 1 day ago. So it's C++ programming live coding of number wall. So that stream, that is from a day ago, and that's where I write this. The whole stream is 4.5 hours, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you can skip through it or something like that. I think that's the kind of code you have to think of. So it's just printing text. This is not a 3D game, but it's still very interesting. And it is where you have to start. Write a program that generates prime numbers, or write a program that can work with polynomials and multiply polynomials and stuff like that, like this program. I'm going to eat, okay? Yes, that's what I'm working on. Vulkan is an API to control the GPU, and I'm writing it in C++, so